A neo-Nazi group is gathering in Texas, having carefully vetted attendees to make sure footage like this doesn't exist. Except they weren't expecting Christopher Goldsmith. He served in the Iraq War and today has made it his mission to expose hate in America.
This is the Nazi hunting station.
Goldsmith shows us how he infiltrates white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups from his office.
When I see a swastika on the ground made of firewood that they can burn, I now know this is where the neo-Nazi conference is going on.
To get intelligence about this October meeting of the Aryan Freedom Network, he went undercover.
After you study these people for years, I can talk like them, so I can convince them that I am one of them, right? So they'll let me into their private chats, whether that's on Telegram or, some other fringe app.
And it was via Telegram last July that Goldsmith learned of the event the group was trying to keep a secret.
Law enforcement, because of the First Amendment, cannot infiltrate a neo-Nazi organization the way that I do.
In October, someone with the alias Daisy Barr, a reference to the leader of the women's KKK chapter a century ago, told him to be ready to be vetted by video chat.
What kind of questions did they ask?
Their vetting for me to infiltrate the Aryan Freedom Network was just confirming that I was white.
Hey, can you see me?
I showed them on video wearing a skull mask, which is popular with the neo-Nazis. They saw blue eyes and white around my face, and they said, all right, you're in.
A few days later, he got another message to meet up at a gas station in a remote town in East Texas.
This right here was the meeting spot.
His team followed the convoy from the gas station to the rural home where members of the Aryan Freedom Network were gathered. They flew a drone the whole way.
Rather than put a human being at risk, we send this out to go spot the neo-Nazis.
Using the drone footage, he notes the make, model, and license plates of vehicles in hopes his information will help connect the dots between individuals and hate groups.
What would you say are your ultimate goals for your efforts here?
Our ultimate goals are to make being a neo-Nazi very uncomfortable and expensive.
An AFN member initially sued Goldsmith for flying the drone over private property, but dropped it with the option to refile.
You've also talked about how you aren't concerned about harassing people, some of these groups, as part of your methods. And some people might argue that's inappropriate. What do you say to that?
Task Force Butler does not harass or dox people. We simply do not do that. What we do is we take away a veil of secrecy that is being used to hurt people.
The United States is experiencing historic levels of extremist incidents around the country, propelling Goldsmith's drive. He grew up on Long Island with a dream of serving his country, realizing it right after high school with a deployment to Iraq.
When you came back, how were you changed by that experience?
I had severe post-traumatic stress disorder in Iraq.
That PTSD led to a dark period in his life, including an attempt at taking his own life the night before his second deployment to Iraq. Missing his flight resulted in a less than honorable discharge from the Army in 2007. Since then, he's been advocating for veterans' rights on Capitol Hill, the very site where on January 6, 2021, some members of the veteran community were among those who stormed the building. He watched, outraged, but says he wasn't surprised.
Veterans aren't innately drawn to these extremist organizations, but these extremist organizations know how to manipulate veterans. They know how to identify veterans who are vulnerable, like I was, and they fill these questions that we have with conspiracy theories as answers.
So he founded Task Force Butler to employ other veterans to help him fight extremism. His team members stay undercover while he goes public with information they gather.
Veterans carry social capital in a way that other folks don't. Those who are targeting us with those messages are more likely not just to, when they get us, not just the one of us, not just the one veteran, but a social network.
Goldsmith has focused much of his work on the Patriot Front, a group that was responsible for disseminating more than 82% of the almost 5,000 white supremacist propaganda messages spread across the country in 2021, according to the Anti-Defamation League. Last June, 31 members of the group were arrested, who authorities say were planning to riot at a pride parade in Idaho.
I've got access to their Rocket Chat server, which is like an open source version of Slack. And I'm able to see from the inside. We know that our research has been used to help support at least one lawsuit.
That lawsuit, filed against members of the Patriot Front who were filmed allegedly vandalizing an Arthur Ashe mural with spray paint in Virginia. The two men were served in November and have not responded to the complaint. They did not respond to requests for comment from NBC News.
You know, the thought of infiltrating a group that seems really scary and potentially dangerous.
That is not scary compared to getting in a up-armored Humvee and driving through Baghdad every day for a year.
Go boys.
For Goldsmith and his Task Force Butler team, a new mission here at home, and they say still in service to their country.
All right, Courtney Cubey joins us now from the Pentagon. And Courtney, of course, as we just heard before you there from Peter, today is the second anniversary of the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Christopher told you he found Task Force Butler. He founded it after watching the events unfold on that day. And there is sort of a military aspect to this. Do we know how many U.S. military veterans or current service members have been charged for their actions on January 6th?
Yeah, that's right. He said he watched that day and he was outraged knowing that there were probably military veterans there. So the George Washington University has this program on extremism that tracks meticulously everyone who has been charged for some role on January 6th. And of the 940 defendants they have on their database, about 118 people have some sort of a military background. The vast majority of those are people with former military service. So most of those would be veterans. But you can see that's still a relatively large proportion of that 940 total people. And those are the exact people who the Task Force Butler people are trying to target with their efforts here, trying to teach that, trying to expose them and teach them to change their ways.
Yeah, more than 10%. Do we know what's next for Goldsmith and Task Force Butler?
He says that they are not stopping, that they're going to continue their efforts there, and they're actually hoping that they can even expand their veteran and volunteer network in the future.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today.
Interesting. So, I know it's deeply rooted in this country where a lot of people think it's all Klan and the Klan and the Klan. And some people have heard about a few other groups. Those that are within certain agencies and communities will tell you there's a whole lot of them that you just never heard of, and they have splintered off from other groups, and their expansion in cities that it's not all in the backyard, in the backwoods of some rural community. I mean, they're right within suburbs, outside of cities, doing this. If anyone knows the movie Imperium with Daniel Radcliffe, it's based on a true story. Exactly. Where he was an FBI agent and he was put in a position to infiltrate and get as much information on what they suspected as plot or plots, and it gave a good picture. I know it wasn't 100%, but it gave a good picture inside what you might expect. Some of these groups, they might rival each other because they have such egos also that they like to be the group. But when they get together and they can form any unity, like I said, these groups you can't take lightly.
Well,
this goes way back.
Not only that, people have a tendency of believing that racism has to be overt. It has to be cross burnings. It has to be lynchings. No. See, what people don't realize is the differentiation from the North and the South. See, the North realized, the federal government says that if it's a public space, I can't discriminate. Where do y'all think private schools, private clubs, and exclusionary tactics came from? The covertness are the microaggressions that we try to educate you on.
Yeah.
It's you're cute for a dark-skinned Black girl. Oh, you're so well-spoken. For a Black person, oh, your family went to college. That's the covertness. It's also the covertness when they go, I didn't recognize you. You changed your hair.
And what I'll say about these groups as far as any political side is that the more you study these groups, and I'm not talking about the Klan, and this is why a lot of people wonder why there's association with lawmakers in Washington, is the fact that these groups are anti-government and anti-establishment, and yes, that has race involved, but they do not stand for what America stands for. They are separatists. They are separatists. They want to blow things up in order to establish their way. So they may sit on the right because they have sympathizers, but overall they're anti-democracy, anti-establishment.
Well, the right
in a violent way, their plots.
The right and the conservative GOP have the same feelings because they want small government unless it's somebody that's opposing them. Let's be clear. Also, let's take a look at everything that has been initiated by the right. They don't take accountability for it, but they're proud of it. From Cal Rittenhouse, grocery store shootings, to the church shootings, the attack on Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Right.
They tried to smoke screen you. But also, let's take this into account. Let's truly take this into account. They tried to tell the whole country that the Black Panther Party was so bad, so egregious. But do y'all know where food banks came from? Yep, Black Panther Party. You know where free breakfast and free lunches at schools came from? Yep, Black Panther Party. Do you know where Neighborhood Watch came from? Say it with me now. Black Panther Party. They don't want to credit. And this is the first day of Black History Month. And y'all know I'm Black all the time because I don't have a choice. There's no zippers or buttons to this skin. So I got to be where I'm in. And the resident ginger.
I'm ginger 24/7.
And we already know, first of all, his mama is Spanish. And gingers, for some reason, white people hate gingers. Why though?
Hey.
White people, why do y'all have a problem with somebody having red hair? Because your mama had a red cootie cat.
I would say gingers are the biggest swirlers.
But the thing about it is, they mamas had red cootie cats when she was swirling around, and everybody got different daddies, and she didn't tell certain folks that one of their daddies was the mailman, one of their daddies was the and one of their daddies was the assemblyman.
Right.
Oh, let me stop before we get banned again. But
what I would say, getting back to, and I know this one you had pointed out, was when you're talking about the smoke screen, Rittenhouse is an example of something that never should have happened because he never should have been there in the first place with a rifle and treated the way he was by local law enforcement. But to twist the actions that came about as a result of what he did, to turn and say, as they always do, this is a gun issue. Who's anti-gun? Who's pro-gun? Let's make this about, the Second Amendment. Let's make this about taking away from the action, because, like I said, when you reverse the picture, then it becomes an issue. When you take away and you put different bodies as the gunmen and the victims, it becomes a different conversation. So
Yeah, because
there's always that smoke screen that we talk about when we talk about the right. We talk about the far right and we talk about the fringes, because it's by association that the lawmakers, by not condemning certain actions or condemning certain groups,
like
it's financial. It's financial.
I am shocked that Kyle Rittenhouse was quote unquote exonerated.
He was turned into a hero.
His victims were white. He was at a Black Lives Matter protest.
Mm-hmm. If his skin was dark, he'd be called a vigilante going into a town.
Because he was so right-wing and right-wing extremists,
mm-hmm.
They make all sorts of excuses. But here's the thing. Here's the caveat.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody on the right wing, come close, because I know y'all watch. Let me explain this to you. They will give you an excuse, but that fame, that infamy that you thought you were going to get, this is no longer 1992. You are not Pamela Anderson, nor are you Kim Kardashian, because Kyle Rittenhouse can't raise money for nothing. Tried to put out a video game, it flopped. Tried to revamp himself with the quintessential Barbie MAGA girl, didn't work. No one is giving him any support. That should let you know that they know they're full of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was used for their lobbying of guns, and he happened to be a figure at the time. Like I said, if Kyle Rittenhouse was of different color, he would have been called a vigilante, and they would have gone after him and the mom for driving him to the town. It would have been condemned. It would have been blasted all over Fox Entertainment. And we know it would have gone that route. We just know it would have.
And the friend that ended up having to go to court, and for those of y'all that don't understand, well, why did his friend have to go to court? He said he snuck the gun out of the house. No, when you have a gun safe, when you have multiple guns in your possession, you know it.
Yeah.
But you want to know, from one Trump humper to the next, we got to add some humor into this. Oh, and the irony.
We got to. It's Wednesday.
Well, coming from Yahoo Entertainment by way of AOL.com, Gisele Bündchen comments on Tom Brady's retirement announcement.
Brasilera.
Wishing you only wonderful things. Y'all.
And yet,
if I giggle, forgive me, because it's 1 year to the date when he retired the last time. So no hard feelings. Gisele Bündchen was among the many famous people to wish Tom Brady well after he announced his retirement again on Wednesday. Bündchen and Brady, 45, ended their marriage last year in part because of the NFL's decision to unretire. Wishing you only wonderful things and this new chapter of your life, the 42-year-old model commented beneath his Instagram announcement. Hours earlier, Brady declared his retirement for good and gave a nod to his ex-wife. I bet you did. You don't want to get fucked up in court. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time. So when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just record and let you guys know first. I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year, Brady said in a video. The post also contained a carousel of photos that featured Boochin not once, but twice, with their two children, Ben 13 and Vivian 10. He featured her in his Instagram story. You're not getting Giselle back, dumbass. You fucked it up. You promised her you were going to retire after she gave up her career, and she was the breadwinner. She made more money than you before y'all started dating, after you pumped her up with a baby, when you left the Blue Bloods actress by the wayside, when you got her pumped up with a baby. But I guess we all supposed to forget about that. And then you decided that after a few months of being home with your family, you couldn't handle that. Now that you ain't got a family, you're okay to retire, to be in the house by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Remember,
right, when is your coming out OnlyFans going to be available? Because I will promote it, boo boo. Go ahead, Chris.
Remember, there was a time when we wondered why everyone said, Brady was the ultimate teammate, and he just wanted more talent, so he was willing to take pay cuts. He had other income that was sizable in that household.
First of all, anybody who believed that Tom Brady was taking a pay cut must have believed that nobody was cheating for him while he was with the Patriots. Because when you look at the same stuff he's doing now that he did with the Patriots, and it ain't working, if you don't know that.
But I mean, her comment today literally said it all. I know there was a lot of people out there saying, oh, that was so sweet. She's still, showing that, she made a point of saying exactly what she said and making it to the point where good luck with what you plan on doing. I've already moved on and I'm good over here. Good luck with your next chapter. That you could just read it and know that this was her way of saying, oh, okay, so now you're doing this. Okay, good luck. I'm fine over here.
And let me say this to all the NFL fuckboys that are like, if Tom Brady can't make it work, the rest of us can't make it work. First of all, being a white boy quarterback does not mean that you can have a great relationship with anybody. It does not mean that you are marriage material and you can do the best for your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Did we forget Inflategate? Did we forget Videogate? Did we forget all of the gates that surrounded him for his career? For people to call him the fucking GOAT. You had to cheat your way into a damn title. This should have asterisks next to everything that you do. And before any of you little fanboys try to come at me, baby, trust me, I know football probably more than you know the circumference of your testicles. Don't play with me, okay? Don't play with me. You're gonna get your feelings hurt. But I digress. But here's the thing: being attractive, being wealthy, being popular does not mean that you are a good mate. This man lied. He spent 45 days at home and was like, I can't do what Giselle does. Let me run back to work. And the only reason he's deciding to, as far as we know right now, because we know he be lying, he gets in his ego and he gets in his feelings, and he's like, I want to come back and prove the young men wrong. He does not know how to steal a legacy and let that stolen legacy ride. He might come back, but he's like, I done lost everything. I guess I can come home and I ain't got to deal with no kids or a wife. He already has a contract. He married Giselle to look good. It's no different than a man that is climbing the corporate ladder and looks at a woman that he don't even want, that he can't even compare to. But he's like, shit, you're smart. When we have these little get-togethers, you can make me look good. And then gets pissed off because they get divorced 2 years later and she got everything.
Right. But remember last year he made a deal with Fox Sports that when his career ended, he started a multi-year deal with Fox Sports to I don't know if it's their studio or what, but
of course he was gonna go to Fox Sports.
Right.
He's a Trump sycophant that when called out by the non-white individuals that were tasked with saving his ass and making him look good, he's like, no, I didn't mean it. And they're like, motherfucker, we saw you put that MAGA hat on.
Right. Only when he looked around and was like,
to the point where he had to show his actual factual skills. Everybody learned he ain't got no damn skills. Now, Skip Bayless, fuck you. I done told you this 1,000,001 times on this podcast. I don't give a damn about you. I don't like you. I will crumple your ass up and put you down my garbage disposal. Fuck you. Skip Bayless is the only one that's like, oh yeah, he is the no, you are not. You are not a Joe Nuxall. Bitch, you're not even a Norman Julius Esiason. Sit down. If somebody is not cheating for Tom Brady, what skills does Tom Brady have? What skills does Tom Brady have if nobody's cheating for him? I'll wait.
I look at him the same way I look at Aaron Rodgers. They're just products. They're just somebody's
of the mediocrity.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be successful.
Not everybody can be Joe Cool.
First of all, put some respect on Joe. Name.
Well, I like Joe. That's why I call him Joe Cool.
Yeah.
He'll be just fine. He's just fine. He knows how to brush things off and keep it moving.
Around here, he's Joe.
Yeah. Joe Cool.
Yeah, he is Joe Cool.
Yeah, he is. Nothing phases him. I mean, look at him. I mean, he's what teams hope they'd have in a young prospect coming out. Because remember, a lot of people wrote him off because they're like, you know what? He was on an LSU team. They had a historic season. They were loaded from both sides of the ball. You know, he's going to be a product of all these stars around him. He's going to go to the NFL and just be a guy.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. Those of us that are Cincinnati fans, we wrote him out when he started talking shit about our Cincinnati chili. Like, bro, you grew up on Cincinnati chili. I know you went down to Louisiana. We know you went down to the bayous of Louisiana.
Yeah. But he's all right.
Don't come back up and talk shit about our shit. And Kansas City, I got a question for y'all. What the fuck is dry chili? And why are you putting ketchup on dry chili? What is that about? Somebody explain it.
Ketchup on chili. I don't know that. I don't know that one. That's got to be a regional thing.
It is no, not regional. It is.
I mean, regional within a state or a city or a.
I asked, and everybody was like, "No, that's just Kansas City," and I'm like,
so it's just very local.
They really sitting there putting ketchup on chip, and then they said,
"Well, I don't get it though, because Joe,
you can get dry chili. What the fuck is dry chili? Just ground up ground beef and beans? What is dry?"
Dry chili. I don't think I have that in my spice rack.
Y'all nasty.
But Joe, yeah, I mean, Joe was embraced in the South. Joe was embraced in Bayou. I mean, really. I mean, he was a star because he knows what happened at Buckeye campus. But he came up as Mr. Ohio, right? In high school, wasn't he, Mr. Ohio?
He was. Now it does take a lot for us Buckeyes to accept you on the Buckeye campus. It does. It does. We are very discerning. Sorry, Joe Burr. We do love you. We did give you an offer. Let's not act like we didn't give you an offer. I think you just wanted to go down there because you wanted a big booty girl. I think you just wanted a big booty Creole girl.
He could have been a Bearcat.
No, he couldn't have. Now I know that I'm a legacy Bearcat. I realize.
Yes. Go Bearcat.
I went there for graduate school, but my heart will forever belong to OSU.
Oklahoma State. I'm just kidding. I was like,
you know what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I come from a Commonwealth, so.
But my heart also belongs to.
Yes.
Originators. You can never copy us. Scary. And those of y'all that know, you know.
Okay. That was our endorsements section.
No, that's not our endorsements. We do have to go to the Black History Month ad. So we'll be back in 2 and 4.
We got merch?
Of course, we always got merch, baby.
No, you don't. You don't have ginger merch.
You didn't give me permission to use your.
Isn't there like ginger history week or something? We can have a week. Can we give us a week? Can we talk ginger history for a week?
Permission from the ginger community.
Yes.
You know I don't do anything without permission. I'm not trying to speak over anybody, so
we can have fun with flags and
fun with ginger for a damn month. So
fun with flags, fun with gingers.
Okay, I did not do. Okay, technically there was a series that I had. Well, anywho, we're gonna go.
Let's go to the merch.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody go take a bathroom break.
2 and 2. Y'all know how we do.
Black people stand up, feel good. Be proud of yourself as you should. And if you darker than the brown paper bag, wave your fists in the air, trying to make these haters mad. They treat us like we came from the sewer, and everything we do, they try to outdo us. We made the traffic light, they write tickets. I ain't got to tell them, they already know where it's sticking. We made the subway, they got scepter. Now everybody eating off of that except us. One thing we known for is our bravery, and Paul Kufi was an entrepreneur during slavery. You wonder why we like t-shirts that's white? Maybe because we used to pick cotton in another life. For Granville Woods and Maggie Lena Walker, put your lighters in the air now and spark up. One of the things that they never made clear, why Black History Month is shortest one of the year. Just one of the things that make me think.
This is what some Ukrainian refugees think about the UK.
After a week of staying there, her guests told her there were too many Muslims in the area.
We were quite shocked at how difficult she found different cultures.
She felt there were just too many Muslims.
Too many Muslims, too many people with different skin colours.
Her guest's son was enrolled into the local school, where the majority of children happened to be Black and Asian.
And then to just have her complain about the demographic of the school and going, well, he can't be safe there. There's not enough white kids, essentially. The majority of my neighbours are Muslims. A lot of them are Kashmiris or Pakistanis, Indians, and they're wonderful people. And you just felt if you just would sort of give them the time, perhaps we'd come to the same conclusion.
They both agreed to end the placement.
I became to the worst area of the Birmingham, unfortunately.
Oksana moved here from Kyiv last summer. She admits that at first, living side by side with so many different cultures made her feel afraid.
I was very afraid because it was not usually for me, and and some people just told me about so many dangerous stories.
Those stories, Oksana says, included cases about Islamic terrorism.
Lots of people here would feel very offended that you feel just because it's a mixed area, it's not safe.
I saw statistics on the police website, police, and so I saw statistics of criminals instead of it. And also I
have to stop that right there, because how are you afraid when you're living with a family that's inclusive? That means you came over with your own biases. Can we stop lying to marginalized communities and making it seem like somebody else convinced you to be racist?
Yeah.
Because one of my best friends in the whole wide world, who has been through trials and tribulations with me, I've been through trials and tribulations with him, is this man right here. Never once have we had to correct each other regarding racial boundaries. Am I lying, Chris?
No. Well, Taurus is number one, but
oh, yeah, that is that that is true.
Yeah. We
but
understand. Mm-hmm.
We got kicked out of a whole Facebook group because we stood 10 toes down on what we believe collectively.
A little conspiracy theory.
So I cannot believe that
Q
somebody
did it.
Forced to become racist. I
was gonna say the Q did it.
Fact. Like
Yeah. I mean, people can't force anything on you that you don't receive. Like, there are things inside of you that were already thinking things. It just happened to come out at any given time. And then at that point someone will get exposed. Upbringing can but doesn't always determine how someone will be as an adult or a young adult, because you can be brought up in a very loving and caring household that is very accepting of all people, and then they get exposed, whether it's college, their job, there's some other environment, and all of a sudden they want to fit in, and they just say, well, these are my friends and I should think like they do, and I'm all of a sudden now I am seeing their point of view, and now I'm thinking like them. There has to be something there. It's not just a matter of trying to fit in that you go along with certain things.
And
I don't know. I have my own way of thinking. I have a mind of my own, so I don't really know what it's like to be literally a follower. I'm more in a independent mindset of, does this sound functional or what? Does this sound like something that makes sense? Does this sound logical? Does this sound like, is this something that Sheldon would criticize?
By Sheldon, he means me, y'all.
Yeah. Right.
But I've been around. I've been around people who really haven't had an interaction with anybody else other than white people. And I'm sat back and listen to what they've had to say, and I'm like, don't pop off. Hear everything that they have to say for research purposes.
But then you try and call them out on it. What happens? Oh, I'm not that way at all. I know there's this lady that works at the grocery store, and she's black, and
I got the ultimate story time regarding this.
Yeah.
I had someone who was convinced that their siblings stole their parents' fortune. Their parents didn't have a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did their parents own a business? Yes. Was the business successful? No. This is why they struggled as children. Like they completely, like only one of the kids forgot that, fuck, we've been struggling for years. Why don't mom and dad give up on this business and just work for somebody else? Like this is what the rest of the did.
Yeah.
When mom and dad died, the kids were like, we're selling this land. The land is shit. Mom and dad bought this thinking that they could plant and harvest, and this shit ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the land for it. There was one sibling that was trying to con the rest of the family to pay for their daughter's education.
Mm-hmm.
This person was like, oh, well, this college in Atlanta offered her an apartment. She's an English major. Y'all, please tell me, who's breaking the bank for an English major?
Nobody.
So I was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. It sounds like somebody else in the family paid for her apartment, and they're lying to you to guilt you into giving money, like to be in competition with this other person.
Right.
This family that would send me to the grocery store for them, and on their grocery list would have more Little Debbies than actual food to eat off of, and basically lived off of Hardee's breakfast sandwiches all day long.
Chicken nuggets.
Literally told me that Spelman College was not a real college. And then I had to remind them that the reason why they weren't getting promotions at work is because they went to Phoenix online. Now, y'all can imagine the argument that ensued.
Had they previously enrolled in Trump University?
I'm pretty sure they would have.
Or Elon U?
Because this is the same family that tried to convince me that Bill and Hillary Clinton bought a country, the country of Haiti. And I said, you can't just buy a country. Like,
yeah.
Do you know how much money you would have to amass to get the richest person in the world couldn't buy a country like that? And you think that two white people are going to buy Haiti? Do you not know the history of Haiti? And they're like, well, you could Google it. So I Googled it right in front of them. Where does it say?
I want to know a realtor that sells parts of Earth.
And I was like, please explain to me how the first people to gain their independence from chattel slavery would sell their country to two white people from Arkansas.
Could I go out and say I want to buy a continent?
Evidently,
is there a real estate company for that realtor that handles?
I don't even know. I guess there's a global realtor that'll sell it to you.
On Craigslist.
At whatever market value is right now. And you can bypass the UN, you can bypass NATO, you can bypass all of these safeguards and just buy a country.
It's all eBay.
I guess they got it on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, that takes somebody that went to Misc College.
Oh, and y'all, before we move forward, did y'all know that
that's not.
We know that Trump is obsessed with his daughter Ivanka. But did you know that when he was elected president, Ivanka really thought that she was going to be first lady, and she really felt that she should be first lady. Like, there was a whole knockout, drag out fight, and there's a book coming out about it. Y'all know I'm the book. And as always, check the links in the description of this video. There's a lot of good nuggets in there. And for those of you all that really want to learn about Black history, there's a blog post that I put out today. The link is in the description of this video that gives you 2 different lists of things that maybe you should explore so you could, you know.
Are there chicken nuggies in the nuggets?
No, I'm not sharing my chicken nuggies with them.
You said there's nuggets.
I said nuggets of information.
All I heard was nuggets. I'm like, where?
I'll share my chicken nuggets with you.
Yeah.
Don't get them excited.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't say fries. Fries is a different whole nother.
I will fight everybody over my fries. Let me explain. I will fight.
There's a food group just for fries.
Exactly. I will fight Jesus himself over my fries.
So you be breaking bread. I got fries.
Exactly. Guess what, y'all? George Santos has not stopped. He is the herpetic infection that America did not need. And y'all know I never say America. I usually just say the United States, but I mean America. And I mean both continents, because he has infected North America and South America. Y'all think I'm playing? Go get a drink, go get some popcorn, get comfy, turn your volume up, because this is going to be several videos, and then we're going to come back and we're going to...
Wasn't he the nephew of Fidel Castro?
At this point, I'm waiting to say that he married to Gordon Ramsay. I'm just waiting. I don't know what he gonna come up with next. He done tried to give people cupcakes, cookies, coffee. Ain't nobody trusting nothing you bring. George Santos, Anthony DeValder, George, whatever your name is.
George Santos Bober.
Right. Let's run through these things. Like I said, y'all turn your volume up, go get a snack, get comfortable, because we got a few to go through.
So it's just been discovered that around 8 years ago, Republican George Santos was active on a karaoke app, uploading himself singing renditions of Hallelujah and Let It Go from Frozen. Like, yeah, him fully singing. And of course, there are videos. Take a look at him singing Hallelujah.
Your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
hallelujah. Apparently George Santos had an account on Smule, which is a singing app, karaoke app, which I myself have been on for almost 10 years. And I looked him up. His account is still active. And it's, you know, the last thing he did was 8 years ago. But I was like, did I ever sing with this dude? I did not. But I looked at his account. Let's explore.
Unbelievable, indescribable feeling, for a whole new world, 100,000 to see. Say your word and she won't say your word until you kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be scared, you got the mood prepared. Go on and kiss the girl. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free. None from the kids.
George Santos. Somehow it's getting even worse. This tweet came across my timeline that reads, "New, we've identified more than a dozen top donors to Santos' 2020 campaign who do not seem to exist. I also spoke to a friend of Santos who says he did not give the $2,800 donation attributed to him." When is this man gonna be removed from Congress? Or an even better question to ask, when is he gonna go to prison? Let's get into this article, shall we? It's a rather long article, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Feel free to go look it up yourself if you want to read the whole thing, but I'm gonna get into the gist of it. In September 2020, George Santos' congressional campaign reported that Victoria and Jonathan Reger had each contributed $2,800, the maximum amount, to his first bid for a House seat. Their listed address was 45 New Mexico Street in Jackson Township, New Jersey. Here's the funny thing, though. A search of various databases reveals no one in the United States named Victoria or Jonathan Reger. Moreover, there is nobody by any living name at 45 New Mexico Street in Jackson. That address doesn't exist. There is a New Mexico Street in Jackson, but the numbers end in the 20s. Santos' 2020 campaign finance reports also list a donor named Stephen Berger, I think is how you say that last name, as a $2,500 donor, and said he was a retiree who lived on Brant Road in Brawley, California. But a spokesperson for William Brandt, a prominent rancher and Republican donor, tells Mother Jones that Brandt has lived at that address for at least 20 years, and neither he or his wife have made any donations to George Santos. And surprise, surprise, he also has no idea who Stephen Berger is, nor has a Stephen Berger ever lived on that road. Is it Berger or Berger? I feel like it's Berger. Those donations are just 2 of more than a dozen that cannot be verified, and of course there is the $2,800 donation that was given to him from a friend, and that friend came out and said that he has never given him any money. Under federal campaign finance law, it is illegal to donate money using a false name or the name of someone else. It's called a contribution in the name of another. It's something that is explicitly prohibited under federal law. These questionable donations, which account for more than $30,000 of the $338,000 the Santos campaign raised from individual donors in 2020, have not been previously cited in media reports. Mother Jones identified them by contacting or trying to contact dozens of the most generous donors to Santos' 2020 campaign, which he ended up losing by 12 points. And of course, George Santos did not respond for comment. Like I said, the whole piece is a bit longer. Feel free to go read it if you want. It's really well done, but I've said this once, I'll say it again and again. George Santos is a fraud. He should not be in Congress. He should be voted out, kicked out. I mean, something needs to happen. I feel like now would be a perfect time for somebody to, I don't know, press charges against him or something, because this dude seems to truly be a lifelong liar and scammer. Given the current state of American politics and the climate and all that, the last type of person we need in politics is George Santos. How exactly did he get elected?
In case you missed it.
Mr. Santos, you listed the wrong name of a treasurer. Why did you list the wrong name of your treasurer on your campaign finance forms?
I'll have a conversation with you when you become a better honest reporter.
I'm asking you directly.
You're a dishonest reporter, and you know that.
Well, why did you lie about being on a volleyball team?
You're lying to the American people. When you stop lying to your bad reporting, I'll start talking.
So, wait, you actually were on a volleyball team? Is that right? In college, in Baruch College? Is that true? Is that true?
He also posted this 4 days ago. From interviewing clowns to creating fake posts, the media continues to down spiral as their attempt to smear me fails. What does down spiral mean? I am getting the job I signed up for done while you all spiral out of control. Well, this just happened. Representative George Santos says he will recuse himself from committee assignments amid ethics issues. And apparently MTG stated that it was Santos's decision that he made on his own to abstain from the committees. He just felt like there was so much drama really over the situation, and especially what we're doing to work to remove Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Now, to be clear, Anthony DeVolder Santos man has lied about everything, and I mean everything. But now we're finding out that he put someone's name as his treasurer on his campaign finance documents, and this individual didn't even know he was listed as a treasurer. Had no idea. On top of that, it was also discovered that several large donors, they don't either exist or have never donated to George Santos, and yet they were listed as donors. In fact, one of them had an address that wasn't even real. Oh yeah, and he also admitted that personal loans to campaigns were not from personal funds. Shocking. So all this is out, which is bad. Like, he's in trouble. And yet MTG is admitting that their party didn't hold him accountable? I don't think that's the flex you think it is, Marge. It's not. It's not.
This video is being made for educational purposes. I hope you winked with me, because if you didn't, I'd be very upset. And you wouldn't want me to be disappointed in you, would you? I need to stop. Anyways, that's right, y'all. We're gonna talk about George Santos. This tweet came across my timeline with a video that he recorded back in 2020. Before I play this video, just allow me to say, for these statements to come out of George Santos's mouth, out of anybody, is dumbfounding.
Hey everybody, it's November 3rd, and it's election day. If you haven't gotten out yet on early voting, I suggest you do that right now. I'm on the line like every other normal person, and, you know, exercising my right, my American right to vote. And it's interesting because I'm going to be voting for myself for the very first time, so I don't know what to think of it. But all I can say is God bless everyone. Make sure you vote responsibly and that you've done your research on every single candidate, because this is a very important year for elections.
Talk about the kettle calling the black pot. You know, freaking George Santos, dude. What's funny to me is, like, when this guy got elected into Congress, nobody freaking talked about him. Nobody cared about George Santos. Freaking the only place that talked about him was the state he was running in. But then all of this stuff came out about his background and all this shit that he's lied about, and now he's a household name. Like, everybody in America who has access to the internet knows about George Santos. But in all honesty, I completely agree with George Santos. Researching your candidates is very important. If more people had done their research on George Santos, they would have found out homie doesn't even really exist. That's not George Santos, that's Anthony freaking DeVolder. And he's not some successful businessman who worked his way up through the ranks and went to college. No. He's a phony who lied about being Jewish. George Santos, man. You know, I'm gonna give him some props. He was wearing a mask, and I do appreciate that. At least he wasn't being some crazy anti-masker. Now, having said all of that, when is he gonna be arrested?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bowels are still recovering from his singing.
George,
I felt a movement within my plumbing. Okay, go ahead.
George Santos singing Jesus, Mary,
Yeah.
Joseph, and a Billy Goat. Lord.
Yeah, that's singing that brings out the roaches at night.
But here's the thing. He gets elected into Congress. The House of Representatives, and the Senate make up the Congress. For those of y'all that vote and still don't
Or
know.
as we know, it's the circus.
So he finally gets called out and he's like, oh, I fucked up. Now he's like, oh, maybe I should recuse myself from some of these committees. Recuse yourself from everything. Everything.
Yeah, including singing.
Who that was painful.
I mean, if there's ever a person to be banned from karaoke, yeah, George, whatever his real name would be. Yeah.
George Santos, George DeVolder, Anthony DeVault, whatever he calls himself. We don't know. And
George Castro. I told you, George Castro. He's a nephew of Fidel.
I don't even think. He don't have enough juice to be related to the Castros. Like, they never lied about who they were. Just people in the United States didn't want to believe when they said what they said.
Well, George also said he was Jewish.
Well, he said, and this is the craziest part. He said he was Jewish, but
yeah. I mean,
First
we did have a show called Blackish, but I don't know we have a show called You wish.
Who looked at George DeSantos, Anthony DeVolder, George DeVolter, Anthony DeSantos, DeVolder, all the combination? Who looked at him and was like, "Yep, he Jewish"? What the fuck? Who said? Who looked at him and said that his family originated from a white country where we know unless black people decide to go move there today, that country don't make black people.
Was he talking about? Was he here on Earth?
You can't tell me you black and Russian. Russia does not make black people. Russia exterminates black people, but Russia don't make no black people.
Are we sure he's from Earth?
At this point, I don't.
I mean, we've seen what looks like remnants of old lakes on Mars. So, at one point, they may have had life forms. I don't know. I don't know because, like I said, every year we have a Miss Universe, and the winner is always from Earth. So, anything's possible.
Take me to the king. I don't have much to bring.
I know he sings one, "Take Me to the Q." That's what he sings.
Yep, take me to the Q.
I don't know it.
Keep that wealthy view.
And then you have the Bobert, take me to the pole, and I'll swing for you. I'll swing for you. Make it rain. Make it rain.
Let's not forget that he was living in a whole house with his wife that he legally married, brought his boyfriend in. The boyfriend claimed he didn't know that they were husband and wife. They all hung out together. Then while still in the same house, he sent out invitations. Invitations regarding the engagement party for him and his boyfriend. And then he claimed that he'd been openly gay his whole life. But
he said he was once involved with the guy that was a community watch called Zimmerman.
I think he was fucking.
And they had a karaoke duet. And
he was fucking gays, but gays couldn't pay them AIDS.
And now he can't afford the eggs.
Okay, I know we didn't get through everything in the description listed in the bio, but that's okay. I'll get to it tomorrow.
Because it's Anything Goes Wednesday.
You know how we do. Final thoughts on tonight's show.
Final thoughts. I thought tonight we were awesome.
Always awesome.
And I really don't know what's next in Circus Town. So I don't really know where we're going with some of this craziness because, like I said, you give them control and it's like, yeah, we got a slim margin. Yeah, this guy, he's crazy and everybody's pointing out all these facts about him, but we need that slim margin. So you never know where we're going with anything. You have one side that's like, you know what, we need to work on getting more programs, more benefits for the needy and those that are really out there, the single parents. And then you have the circus on the other side saying, sorry, women, don't care about the bodies. Hey, voting, yeah, how can we manipulate that? So it's Circus Town. So I don't really have any other thoughts other than this is a good time to make sure you caught up on your streaming services and your binge watching. Yeah.
And if you factually.
And anybody that has Apple TV, please catch the final season going on now called Servant.
Oh, yeah.
This is the final season. We don't know what's going to happen next. For those that know the show, The Leanne character has definitely progressed into what seems to be a very dominant human being, which in the early seasons we didn't know much what she was, other than, you know, somebody that was a Walking Dead or something.
And don't forget, we covered Anna Delvey on this show,
Oh.
and seems to be the Asian version.
We haven't talked about her for a while.
There's an Asian version of Anna Delvey, and Anna Delvey has a new show that will be popping up on Netflix, where she will be hosting the New York elites in her penthouse.
We know who won't be leading the show. Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes will not be leading the show.
Because she done moved on up. But yeah. Oh, I guess it's time for me to give my final thoughts.
Yes.
Here are my final thoughts. First of all, as always, check the links in the description for this video. Those of you that are watching this on TikTok, check out my blog it's in my link tree. It's under Camp Taz. I have given you all 2 different lists because this is the first day of Black History Month, and I'm tired of y'all regurgitating things about 5 Black people that you learned about in school and you didn't even learn everything about them. But I gave you 2 extensive lists. Go learn about those lists. Go educate yourself on those lists. No, I am not going to help you along the way. No.
Does that include learning about Candace Owen?
No, ain't nobody trying to learn about that. But if you pay me, I have no problem tutoring you. Also, keep in mind that starting next Tuesday, from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, via Zoom, the link will go up either Sunday or Monday. I have to be cautious with my Zoom links. My book club will resume, and we're resuming with the book, The Black History of the White House. If you've ever been to my previous book clubs, you don't even have to have the book right away. We're starting with the introduction, so if you don't have the book, you can still join us. Like I said, I'll put the link up there. But in the blog today, I gave you 2 links. 2 lists that you can research information on your own and get a better understanding of Black history. And I want to say this, and I want you all to really hear me and take this in. Your Black friends are going to be there for you. But realize once again, we are going through a traumatic event. We have to try to cope. We have to try to heal. We also have to fight forward for equity. That takes a lot on top of whatever personal things we have going on. So leave us alone. Stop asking us to speak on the latest killing, the latest murder. Stop trying to invalidate us because we have to deal with things. And I'm going to say this specifically. Tyree had the same close relationship that my children have with me with his mother. I have a son who has my name tattooed on him, and Tyree's mother admitted he had her name tattooed on him. He was just a few feet away from her front door. Can y'all not understand how that hits us different? Leave us alone. And if you think that I'm a fake advocate, if you think that I'm a fake educator, bitch, your mama should have swallowed you. I know Chris would be far more polite than me. I know other people that are mutuals with me on every other social media platform would be far more polite. I don't give a damn. Y'all do not know what I have endured and still told the line and still fought for equity. When I say leave people alone, leave, you don't know what people are battling behind the scenes. You don't know when we get up here in front of you what's weighing heavy on our hearts. But we still give you factual information. We still give you a good show. Stop expecting something out of us that you don't even give yourself. Let me repeat that. Stop expecting something out of us that you don't even give yourself. And given that this is the first day of Black History Month, I'm going to be 100% real with y'all. I don't want to hear your apologies. My website is Tazisms, TAZ-ISMS.com. Make your apologies there. But as always, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I learned this from my granny. Each one teach one, each one reach one. I will see y'all tomorrow, and we will deal with everything that we could not cover tonight. And if you're not happy with that, call your mama or your daddy. Stop calling upon my inbox and my email. All right?